Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is Joe Pugh for IFL TV. We're here at the Camden Boxing Club. It's Buatsi Aziz Fight Week. Bump into Chris BILLAM-SMITH. I'm assuming you're here for Adam Azine and Caroline Dubois, who's out on the undercard this Saturday.
Yeah, them, and obviously the main event's a great fight, a great fight. So, obviously here to support my gym mates, but looking forward to the main event too.
I had a little look over at you, just watching, kind of a little bit of in awe, just impressed as we all was at Adam Azine's amazing skills on the pads there, but it ain't just pad work, it's phenomenal talent all round, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's got everything, and the most important thing you've got to have is a willingness and ability to learn and a work ethic to go with that, and he's got it, and that's why him and Caroline have both got it, and they're getting hyped, but that's why the hype's real, and that's why Shane and everyone else talks about that. So it's important to have all those ingredients.
We'll move on to yourself then. Last time I spoke to you was straight after your last fight in Bournemouth. Kind of come off cloud nine with that amazing atmosphere on that cold winter's evening.
Yeah, it was a strange one after that fight. Yeah, wasn't pleased with the performance, but it's hard to process it all straight after the fight. So the few days after, I was a bit not down in a way, but then you assess it all and you see what actually happened and you watch the fight back. It's never as bad as you thought, and it's never as good as you thought most of the time when it comes to boxing. And pleased with how that went. I had a nice break over Christmas.
Still confident in the fact that if the fight hadn't have ended how it ended, you were slowly starting to get the better of him, and by the end of the fight, you would have come out victorious without the injury.
Absolutely. I felt like the tide had turned in round 6 and 7. And I remember getting up on my stool early for the 8th, thinking, right, we've got 5 rounds now, and I'm buzzing to push on. And I was a bit gutted when it got called off in a way, because I was especially looking back, because I was, for want of a better word, robbed of a better finish in my eyes and a better performance. I could have performed like I did in the 7th and the 8th and the 9th, and people wouldn't have been talking as much about the early rounds. So yeah, it's but a win's a win, and happy days.
I think that's 2 fights in 2 years just before Christmas, so you haven't been robbed of a Christmas in a few years, so you get to enjoy it, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a fan of December fight nights. I've been able to enjoy Christmas properly both years, and spend some quality time with the family.
What is next then? We know Richard Riakporhe, well, I don't know how far it is in advanced talks, but surely that is the fight next. Yeah,
I think, I'm 99% sure that fight will be next, and hopefully April, May time, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a great fight, and one I can't wait to get my teeth stuck into.
Does that fight land in a stadium?
Possibly. There's only one stadium it can land in, and that's where we were last May.
I'm here in Crystal Palace, though. I've heard a few whispers. No,
that's not happening. We're not going to sell us part. No chance.
About the Den, that's what you said. He had an old T-shirt.
Well, yeah, at least then it'd be his proper team stadium, wouldn't it? But no, look, without being too big-headed, the facts are I'd sell more tickets than him, and I'm the world champion. It might end up in London, but it won't be at Selhurst Park. It might end up in London, though, which he might see as an advantage, but I can almost guarantee I'll have more fans there than he will.
Is there going to be real needle when this fight gets announced? We see the first press conference, we see the gloves are off. The two of you, a little something there, because you're not usually like that, are you, Chris?
No, look, I'm never one to bad mouth in a sense. We enjoy it, we have fun. I tell the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts people, and it seems like there's more needle there than there is, but there's needle for sure to a certain level, and there's needle because it's a domestic fight. He's trying to take my world title, and we've got history, so that's as much needle as I need.
Does that fight mean more to you because of that history there?
Possibly. I think even if we hadn't had the first fight and the careers had gone out how they had, and we were both unbeaten and I'd won a world title, etc., I think we'd still be in the same position we're in. So I think it wouldn't matter. I'd still feel the same towards it. It's a big fight, and a big domestic fight's what I get up for.
It's no secret, on your way up, you had hard fight after hard fight after hard fight. Do you think Richard deserves this title shot at yourself?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't boxed at as high a level as I have, even pre-world title. I mean, his best win's Glavatsky, but what version of that? But at the same time, he's doing the job he should be doing against the opponents he's in with. So you can't argue too much against that he deserves his shot. He's had people put in front of him and he's beat them in a good fashion. So, you know, most of the time in good fashion recently. Turchi, Glavatsky, Brejon. But yeah, they're not the top level. But he had, like I said, the way he's done it, deservedly so.
Hopefully we get that fight announced very soon. I've got to ask you about another huge cruiserweight fight happening in, I think, 2 weeks now in BRIEDIS and Opetaia, the rematch. Opetaia is kind of on the tip of everybody's tongue after the last two performances. Before we actually talk about the fight, how highly do you rate Opetaia?
Yeah, very good fighter, very, very good fighter. You know, I think him, BRIEDIS, Gulamirian, Lawrence are the top 5 in the world, and different people will have different opinions on what order that is, but I can't really see who else you can put in there at the moment. So, and for me, Opetaia is in the top 3 out of that. But yeah, well, it's an interesting fight. It'll depend what BRIEDIS turns up. It feel like he didn't really turn up last time. It wasn't the proper BRIEDIS I'd seen in previous years and shared the ring with and sparring in his training camp. So it was a different BRIEDIS to me. So if the best BRIEDIS turns up, I believe we're in for an absolute treat of a fight. But the ring rust, the inactivity could cause a factor. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Opetaia and BRIEDIS, both very, very world-class fighters.
Do you think there's a little bit of sense of favour of the month with Opetaia, 2 destructive performances in relatively quick succession?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think there's always that recency bias, right, about fighters and stuff like that, where he's had 2 very highlight reel wins, but once again, you've got to look at the level of the lads, and no disrespect to Jordan and Ellis, but they've never boxed anywhere near that level, and you need to have those learning fights. If I'd gone from fighting, I don't know, Vassal Dusar to fighting Lawrence would have beaten me because I didn't have those landing fights in between. I had Tommy McCarthy fights, I had Chamberlain fight, and all those fights matter, and they're important. So you've got to have those building fights to get to that level and be able to compete there, and that's why those boys came up short, because they hadn't had that experience. And that's what I said to Jordan. I went in the changing room after the fight and said that to him. I said, look, you've just jumped up way too many levels too quick, and you're in there with a very special fighter, so don't be disheartened. Like, just go and have those fights that you need to have. So in that sense, he's done what he's supposed to do with the fighters, like what we were saying with Richard. But then they are highlight reel finishes and performances, so people like to get hyped to it, and fair enough, and rightly so.
But you would say at the moment the fight to make is yourself and Jai?
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's not going to be next, but we both come through our fights, and absolutely, I think the winner of these fights should fight each other. If not the fight after, then the fight after that. It's a lot of politics involved in the sport, as we know, but for me, me against Opetaia, me against BRIEDIS are great fights, and for unification, you're not getting a bigger fight in the division.
Excellent. Last one, a little different. My team, West Ham, plays Bournemouth tomorrow night. Prediction, mate?
You there?
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be there too.
I won't pick on you, that's for sure.
I don't know. You got a few injured, but you just signed Calvin Phillips, so he'll slot in nicely. Obviously, he's not match fit, but I imagine he'll start because you've got a few injuries out of you at the moment.
A few injuries, AFCON as well. And you're on a good run as well. Terrible start, but now you've turned it around, haven't you?
We've been really good recently. We've lost Anton Semenyo to the AFCON. I think we lost someone else as well. But we've got a solid squad. We're playing really well. We've got depth for the first time ever, to be honest. When Eddie Howe was in charge, he never had the depth we've got now. And that depth's so important in the Premier League, especially with the games coming spick and span, playing on a Thursday, all those sort of things. So, I'm excited. I mean, the atmosphere's never good at your stadium, is it?
Not anymore.
But the away end's always good. So I'm looking forward to it. It's literally a 10-minute walk from where I stay in Stratford now when I'm up in camp. So I'm buzzing that we're getting you midweek, to be honest, because usually it's on a Sunday and I have to miss it because I'm at home with the family. So I get to go to an extra game.
Excellent, Chris. Thank you very much for speaking to IFL TV. And West Ham fans, don't pick on the WBO Cruiserweight Champ of the World.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.